Mm. I gave my time to others, but now I'm on my own. I've spent a lot of time away from home. It's time to chase my dreams now. It's time to chase my dreams now. I've spent my life taking care of everyone else. Now I'm on my own again. Hey, for me, it's for me, it's for me. For me, it's for me, it's for me. For me, it's for me. For me, it's for me, it's for me. Oh, for me, it's for me. For me, it's for me. For me, it's for me. It's for me. It's my turn to be selfish for me. It's for me. It's for me.
Hi there, how are you? So, last week I put a little teaser out there about what we would be doing in order to kind of get away from what so many of us have been doing for years, which is called a vision board. I don't love vision boards, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you what the secret is behind this new way of making a pathway for yourself. Welcome to Rewriting the Rules. I'm Marie Daniels, and I'm just getting through it like everybody else. But I have found a few things that have been helpful for me, so I'd like to share them with you. If you have not seen me before, well, then welcome. But if you have and you've been on either my Instagrams or anything else, well, it's kind of a here or there, multi passionate type of channel, but I'm really focusing in right now on where I am at. You know, um, I am a woman in my 50s with a family. My children are full grown. My husband and I have recently moved, and I am in a completely different space than I was a year to 2 years ago. And it's been fantastic, and I love it, but I have done a few things that have been a little bit different than usual, and I have really enjoyed the process. So let's get into it, and I will talk to you about my process of building a becoming board. Um, so here's what a vision board is, right? A vision board is you put out a visual representation of all the things that you want. You want a fancy car, a nice house, um, lavish vacations. You want stability. You want your kids to have the best of everything, this type of thing. That's fantastic. But one of the things I have found about the vision boards is a vision board simply is the end game, and it doesn't take you through the process. And that's a whole nother piece is the journey really is relevant. The journey is what makes motivation not so difficult. Milestones in small chunks and small bites. How do you eat an elephant and all of that? So, I want to start out with two of the different types of becoming boards. Now, a becoming board is who you are becoming. Why? Well, we've lived a lot of life. We have a lot of history. We have a ton of experiences, and it has gotten you to this point right here, which is fantastic. And you are a wonderful human for getting here and surviving because it's not easy out there. So, what the becoming board is it's taking a look at who you want to become, where you want to be in the person you are a year from now. I have two different types of becoming boards. One is a much gentler becoming board, and the other is an identity shift becoming board. And as the names, and the titles notate, you can probably determine what that means. The gentler becoming board is, you know, hey, you take an analysis in your own mind and you take inventory of who you are, where you've gotten to, and where you want to improve And it's probably just a matter of being reflective and craving a calm direction. There are some things that you want to tweak, but nothing drastic. It's just changing that energy. And a lot of times that just has to do with, things that happen at this age. I am at the point of this recording, I am 51 years old. Like I said, my children are grown, they are out of the house. I have moved from my um, community of 30 years into a new space, and it's fantastic. But there is some change that has been happening, and my becoming board is um not massive in the way that a traditional vision board has been. It's not too big, it's not so future focused. A becoming board is a lot more focused on daily life, how those changes come about. um, it's not really about the goals, it's really about the becoming of that person to honor who I've been and who I want to become. The other becoming board is really a whole identity shift. And that identity shift is a completely different angle altogether. And so that is a little bit more aggressive. It takes a lot of work, but it also takes a much more in-depth breakdown of your life, being very honest with yourself, very, very truthful, because it is a transition. And then you have to kind of decide really who you want to be and then work backwards. How are you going to get to that who you want to be? And it may not just be a 1 year process. It most likely is not. Um, so this isn't a 2026 thing. This isn't a 2027 thing. This is a path that you're going to constantly be moving towards and down so that you can feel as if you have accomplished those things that are going to make you the person that you want to be. There are a lot of things a lot of us have done in our past that we would like to just forgive ourselves for and move on. That is who we were. It doesn't mean it's who we will always be. And that is really what the identity shift is about. So, let me just kind of shift gears here a little bit and let you see kind of where I'm at. So I'm just going to show you here a few little things. Now, gentle version versus the identity shift. Like I said, one just kind of it makes you really understand who you are right now, the enhancements that you want to make. And it's really sort of a gentle approach over this next year, what your daily life looks like, right? Uh, the identity shift is a much bigger deal. So let's start with um, who these are both for. So, if you are going to be looking at creating the gentle becoming board, you're probably a woman that, like I said earlier, is looking for a sort of a slowdown of who you've been. Maybe you've been, dealing with career, juggling family, juggling a household, juggling aging parents, juggling social life, all of that type of thing for years and years and years. And now you just kind of want to transition into something else. That is probably what this gentle approach is about for your gentle becoming board. But who is the identity shift for? Well, this is like, ladies, if you want to reinvent yourself at the age of 50 plus because you are done with an old life, maybe you've gone through some things, maybe you have divorced, you have retired, you have moved, you have decided that the old life that you had is no longer serving you. The old people that you were surrounding yourself with no longer serving you. You've made some major changes in your life and you need to create that change and stay on that path. This is probably for you, the identity shift, right? Well, why does this matter? Well, I mean, this matters because this isn't, especially for the gentle becoming board, um, this isn't about hustle or reinvention. It's just becoming who you already feel called to be without all of the overwhelm, and doing it in your own time for the purpose and reflective nature that you see for yourself. And the identity shift, the reason it matters so much is because it helps you bridge who you've been with who you're becoming, and really set out steps for getting there. I mean, it's just, it can be a big process to decide who you've been before is not who you want to be. And there's sort of a loss that's there at some point, and you do have to grieve a little bit of that because, um, especially for those of us that are beginning the empty nesting stage, the identity has been, surrounded by our children for so long. Who are you? Well, I'm so and so's mom. That was a big chunk of your identity, for instance, or do you have any career pivots? Well, you do know that within our social construct that we have been identified by our careers. Relocation, obviously, which is one of the things that I'm dealing with right now, a lifestyle reset. But, the other thing is, over 50, you're going through menopause too, potentially, and you're going through some changes that just are just wacky. And so all these lifestyle type shifts, those start to happen. And it's not um it's not a matter of leaving yourself behind. It's a matter of honoring who you are up until this point. Okay? And that's where I feel like people sort of get lost in that. Now, the steps that we'll go through in the gentle becoming board, it's going to be a little bit simpler. You're going to find those things that really you're looking for. What are you missing? You're going to identify some of those things that you're missing, some of the things that you would like to do more of, some of the things you would like to enhance about yourself. You're going to look for things that feel familiar, things that you're going to stop doing, um, you know, how you're going to get through your daily life, and how you're going to utilize that information visually to remind you on a regular basis, on a daily basis, on a quarterly basis, with your check-ins, etc., to see how you're doing and how you're progressing on this timeline of milestones. Now, for the identity shift, it is much more in depth. You're going to be breaking things down. You're going to define who you want that future person to be and what those behaviors look like. We're going to define exactly the um, times of your week that you need specific actions to happen. How are you going to create those absolute identity shifts, in your daily life, in your inner world and your outer world, your outer expression, right? And how are you going to take that information and turn it into action that can be anchored to your becoming board, without pressure, because it is a daily process. And then again, checking in quarterly, checking in annually, and then revising once you get to a particular milestone. If you find that something isn't working, or flipping a priority. These are all things that make this process incredibly, um, not just manual, but it does require you to be cognizant and constantly thinking about how you're doing, but not in a specific, tangible goal that's out there with like showing you a picture of a house. This is who you are becoming in order to achieve anything that you do want to achieve. And that generally starts with who we are on the inside. So, you know, becoming is not a linear process. And the document that you will create, whether you're doing the gentle becoming board or the identity shift becoming board, this is a living document. Um, so I invite you to just make sure that you go through this process, and then, just make sure that you are checking in with yourself. But I will be doing each of these over the next few days. And if you would like to do, the gentle versus identity shift becoming board, I would love for you to, um, I would love for you to join me. It's going to be some work, and that's okay. We're used to hard work at this point. So I encourage you to check in. Go ahead and hit the little bell so you can be reminded when the new video comes out, and make sure you schedule some time where it's just you and you can sit down and you can hit pause, you can move on, you can do the exercises at your pace and without interruptions and distractions. Um, it's important. And why is it important? It's important because you're important and you're important to you and you're important to others. So if you can't take care of you, you can't take care of others either. So be good to yourself. We will talk soon. And I would say expect a video out tomorrow and perhaps also, which is Wednesday, January 7th, along with an additional video on Thursday, January 8th. And you can choose. But let me know in the comments if you think for yourself you would like to be creating a gentle becoming board for yourself or an identity shift becoming board for yourself this year. You all have a great day. Be well. Bye, friends.